So it's no secret that roughly 95% of people who lose weight eventually gain every bit of it back. Many unfortunately gain even more than what they lost to begin with. And the reason is actually pretty simple. Most people were taught how to lose weight. Very few were actually taught how to lose fat without plateaus, how to restore their metabolism after losing weight, and what to do after their fat loss phase, or how to get back to normal after losing weight so that they don't regain it. Today, I want to make this incredibly simple. Essentially, what I want to do today is give almost like a little bit of a mini course of what I have all of my Joyfully Fit 365 clients do. Because until you're doing what's on this list first, nothing else is really going to matter or help your fat loss. And I know that's a bold claim to make, but when you kind of see what this list is and see what the steps are in this little mini course I'm about to give to you, you're going to see how anything on the outsides of these things is simply going to be what I normally call static. It's going to be background noise. It's going to be just a distraction. Okay. So nothing else outside of this until you get these things are dialed in. Supplements are not going to matter. Meal timing does not matter. Fasted cardio doesn't matter. Fat burners don't matter. Let's see. Detoxes don't matter. None of this stuff that most people get tangled up in means much if these things are not handled first. And that's what I put together today is probably one of the, well, it is very comprehensive. It's one of the most comprehensive little mini courses that I put out on YouTube to date. So I'm going to do my best to keep it as short as possible, but realistically, it's probably going to be a good 30, 35 minutes here guiding you through on what to do. The reason I want to do this, though, is to make sure that every single person who lands on my channel, whether you work with me in Joyfully Fit or you do this on your own, I want you to know exactly what these steps are. What are the components of what makes a sustainable transformation? Okay. It's one thing to lose weight. It's another to be able to keep it off, because again, only 5% of people who actually implement weight loss strategies keep the weight off. That is not a lot at all. Okay. So what I want to do, because while I've not lived a perfect fitness life by any means, I know how to still fudge enough, how to, probably not the best way to say that. I know how to fudge, basically have mistakes, not be perfect, be perfectly imperfect in my fitness journey, just like I've taught my clients. And I want you to know exactly how to do that too. So without further ado, what we're going to do today is I'm going to answer the 4 questions that most people don't even know that they should be asking. Okay. Number 1, what actually causes fat loss? Yes, we know calorie deficit, but what really causes everything? I'm going to go through that. Number 2, what prevents plateaus? Because most everybody goes through a plateau of some kind or another, and then they feel like their weight loss results have slowed, stopped, and they don't know what to do. Number 3, how do you know when to stop fat loss and bring your metabolism back to peak? And number 4, what prevents weight regain? Okay. Once you understand those 4 questions, you're going to know almost everything required for sustainable fat loss. And this video is going to help you to do that. If it doesn't fit into one of those 4 buckets that I just listed, these 4 questions, chances are you do not need to spend much time worrying about those. Okay. So this is going to give you a ton, hopefully, of stress relief and give your mind a break from thinking about the things of, yeah, but what about insulin? And yeah, but what about this? And I've heard, and do what kind of carbs? All of the things that matter will be in this video. If I didn't mention in this video, it will not matter until you have mastered these things, okay? If that makes sense, go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know, yes, I'm on board. Yes, that makes sense. Also, too, what I want to know from you is in the comments below, let me know how many times you have lost weight before. If it's more than 1, if it's more than 2, whatever, let me know how many times. For me, I've definitely lost body fat multiple times. And if you don't do it right, you're going to regain it almost nearly instantly. And so I want to know from everybody, is this something that you've done multiple times? Are you on your journey for the first time right now? Let me know where you're at in your journey. Okay, guys. So let me go ahead and get through all of these questions. I'm gonna speed through these really quick because I don't want to waste much of your time. I want to make sure that you're getting everything that you need and nothing more, nothing less. Okay. So, what actually causes fat loss? This is going to be the first section we're going to talk about. Contrary to what the fitness industry wants you to believe, fat loss does not require 500 different rules. It doesn't require 100. It does not require 30. There really are only a handful of things that matter. And unfortunately, I even see fitness coaches telling you this doesn't matter, that, and this isn't sustainable and all this different stuff. And then they give you these methods that are basically not really helping you to understand why you're doing it. It works, but you don't know why. And when you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, when life gets busy or stressful, you're going to let go of it if you don't understand why you're doing it. So the very first thing that you need, number one, above all else, and I've got these more or less in an order. Number one, you need a safe calorie deficit, all right? Roughly 15 to 20% below your maintenance calories. And this is known as a calorie deficit, which is where you go 15 to 20% below how many calories you need in order to maintain your body weight, okay? Now, I'll drop the formula below on how to do that, but one of the simple ways to do this, now this is not perfect, this is just for those that are like, Lance, how do I do this? I need something quick or something that's easy. You simply take your body weight and you multiply it between 11 to 15. If you multiply your body weight times 15, it's going to be more conservative. If you multiply your body weight times 11, it'll be less conservative, which means that you're going to be more in a calorie deficit. What I would say is, number one, it is going to be better to use a formula like the Harris-Benedict formula. There's like 4 or 5 different fat loss formulas, but that's one that works really well. But if you don't want to do the math and you are not in my program, then simply multiplying your body weight times 11 to 15. Be careful with this. Start with 15 and reduce, go to 14, 13, 12, etc. only if needed, if you're not losing weight. And I'll talk about how to know that. Okay, you don't need ultra low calories. This is going to cost you lean body mass, which might look like you're losing good weight, but you're ultimately slowing down your metabolism and making things harder in the future when you do too low of calories, which is why you want to know what your calories should be and not just like, well, I knew I needed a deficit, so I just went, I went nuts. I just bottomed it out. Don't do that. That's going to hurt you, not just now, but in the long run as well, okay? You want just enough to force fat loss while preserving muscle and hormones. Again, in the description box below, you'll see different ways on how you can do that, including the 21-day fat loss kickstart. That'll essentially give you your calorie deficit and all of the stuff I'm going through. Number two, what do you need? Besides a calorie deficit of 15 to 20%, once you have your calorie deficit, next you need protein, okay? About 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of your goal body weight, not your current body weight, your goal body weight. If you weigh 180, you want to weigh 120. At the maximum, you're going to take in 120 grams of protein, but you could get away with doing about 80 to 90 grams, okay? Somewhere around there. This is going to help preserve muscle while you're losing body fat, while you're in a calorie deficit. It also helps you to keep feeling fuller. It's also the highest in what's known as the thermic effect of food. So you're actually burning about 30 calories out of every 100 calories when you eat protein, compared to about only 1 to 3 calories for fat and about 4 to 5 calories when you're eating carbs. So this definitely matters that you're taking in enough protein, okay? 9 times out of 10, when I see people not getting the results they want, they're, number one, not going to be in a calorie deficit. Number two, if they are in a calorie deficit, they're not getting enough protein. And so this means that they're not losing as quickly, they're not feeling as full, they're not feeling as satiated, and they're also losing lean body mass, which means that they're slowing down their metabolism even faster, okay? So we've got to make sure that we've got your calorie deficit, number one. Number two is protein. Water's a good thing too, but I didn't put that on the list today. Okay, number three, we got to have fiber, okay? Now you might be thinking like, protein and then fiber? Yep, fiber is the next one because it is the second highest in thermic effect of food. Thermic effect of food just simply means how much of your food is going to be used as energy just by delivering the nutrients to your body, okay? Basically putting is that when your body is digesting this food and delivering it to the body to be used, that costs your body, like it costs calories. Protein costs 30 calories about per every 100. Fiber is going to be about 26, for that, about 26%. And what this means is that when you're taking in carbs, you need to make sure about 25 to 35 grams a day is fiber, meaning that you're taking in about 25 to 35 grams of fiber. And what this is going to do is it's when you're taking in enough fiber, when you look at your carbs, you're going to have, if you're taking in enough fiber, you're going to have much lower sugar intake just by hitting your fiber target. Okay. You're going to get better fullness. You're going to get better gut health, faster metabolism due to this thermic effect of food we're talking about, similar to protein, better digestion, better adherence. And here's a big one: you will have less water retention, meaning that you will weigh less just by eating more fiber. It is kind of like a fat loss secret that most nobody is talking about or using. What I know for a fact is about 15, 16 years ago, when I was doing some, we'll say some low grade type, fitness modeling type stuff. We're going to say that because there's a lot of catalog type stuff, nothing important. I was meeting other legitimate fitness models, and one of the ultimate things that they were doing is making sure that they had just absolutely dialed in fiber. Okay. And it was almost correlated with how lean they would be. So it's anecdotal, but take that for what it's worth, because when you have enough fiber, you are going to be less water retained and you're going to feel so much less bloated. Okay. So number 1, calorie deficit. Number 2, protein. Number 3, fiber. I'm going to keep moving. Number 4 is your daily activity. This is the next thing that you have got to focus on for sustainable fat loss. So what does this mean? Well, we're talking about steps is going to be the easiest way to track this. So there's something called NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Simple way to put it is just your non-exercise activity. It makes up about 15 to 20% of your total metabolism, aka how many calories you're burning in a day. So what this means is that if you are working out 2, 3, 4 times a day or a week, you're tracking your nutrition, you're doing all this stuff, but if you're only getting a couple thousand steps a day, when we really want to get at least 5,000, but even better, closer to 10,000, you're going to be keeping your metabolism about 15 to 20% slower compared to what it could be. That's what we don't want to get, okay? So moving your body in non-exercise ways is crucial for your metabolism without needing the same recovery that your central nervous system needs from exercise. So this means that we're burning a lot more calories, but we're not actually, we're not stressing, we're not overloading our central nervous system, which means that we don't have to increase our food or rest based on the activity that we've given, okay, or that we've done. Most people focus way too much on workouts and not nearly enough on daily movement, okay? So this is going to cost them loads of results that they are not seeing. Okay, so we also want to aim for about 5 to 10,000 steps a day. You want to start with 5 and just increase by only about 500 steps gradually until you reach your 10,000 mark on or your goal, okay? So if you're taking in, or if you're hitting about 4,000 steps, don't just bump it up to 10. We want to go 4,000, 4,500, 5,000, 5,500, onward and onward. But what I can tell you is if you will just increase your daily steps gradually, this is going to be more than enough to get you closer and closer into a safe calorie deficit without taking away many more, if not any more calories. So this is another what I call lever that we can pull to increase fat loss or to control fat loss, okay? So daily steps is number 4, which is known as NEAT, non-exercise activity. Okay, good, we're good there. So number 5 is resistance training, all right? So now again, all of these on the list are things that if you want long-term sustainable transformation, these are the things that you want to do. Now you might go, Lance, do I have to lift weights? Do I have to work out in order to get fat loss? No, you don't. But if you want to do it in a way that protects you as you age, protects muscle, protects bone density, improves your metabolism, helps your hormones, and again, did I mention slows down aging? You're going to want to do resistance training, okay? It does not have to be bodybuilding and powerlifting style. It doesn't have to be long. In fact, what I recommend is only 2 to 4 times a week, no more than 60 minutes, even better, closer to 30 to 45 minutes. It's not a long time at all. You're talking about like 2 to 3% of your whole day, And that's only on the 2 to 4 days that you actually have to work out. What we're trying to tell the body here is keep the muscle so the metabolism stays up and lose the fat. When we don't use resistance training, especially when we're not getting enough protein and we're in a calorie deficit, we're sending the signal instead of lose body fat and keep muscle. We're just saying lose it all, just make me weigh less. That's not really what you're wanting, I would imagine. Okay, especially if you knew about how osteoporosis begins to let's say, I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this, begins to become more of a threat as you age if you're a woman. And again, the same thing is, guys, we're going to lose muscle every single decade if we don't have enough calories, we don't have enough protein, and we're not resistance training. But the aging where people look frail and old and humpback and they're leaning over and they can barely walk, this is not due to age. This is due to not maintaining the muscle, metabolism, hormones, and the things that we are given to steward over as Bible following believers. We steward over this body, meaning that we don't just let our body deteriorate, we maintain it by stewarding over our nutrition, over our movement, mobility, and so forth. Okay. So, again, this is going to preserve metabolism, bone density, and it's also going to allow longer life, better health, including better insulin sensitivity. Okay, so if you're concerned with your insulin resistance, you've heard the hot button words, etc. Resistance training and NEAT, which is your steps, is going to be an amazing way to begin balancing your insulin. Okay, all right, so that's number 5. Number 6 is sleep. Guys, you need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. You need 90 minutes minimum of REM sleep and 2 hours of deep sleep each night. REM sleep is going to cover the neck up. So that's for your mind, it's for your brain. And the deep sleep is for the neck down. This is covering the body, okay? So what this means is that if you're feeling sluggish and tired and all of this stuff, even though if you've maybe slept 7, 8, 9 hours, you may be getting too low of deep sleep. If you're feeling brain fog and a little confused or foggy, that's likely due to not enough REM sleep. You can get 5 or 6 hours of sleep and get enough REM and deep sleep and feel great, but you can also get 8, 9 hours of sleep. And if you're not getting sunlight, if you're keeping screens on all day and you're eating before bed, you're likely not going to get the deep sleep or the REM sleep that you need. You're not going to feel as good as what you need to. And this is going to affect all kinds of things. So people dramatically underestimate how much poor sleep affects hunger, their cravings, recovery, their fat loss, the list goes on and on, okay? Sleep can also affect your basal or your resting metabolic rate up to around 15 to 20% as well. So poor sleep is going to mean more inflammation, imbalanced hormones, higher stress, hunger hormones, and a slower metabolism, aka less fat loss and less muscle building. Do not forget to focus on your sleep, all right? Number 7 is water, and I'm about done with the first part, which is what causes fat loss, which keeps fat loss, and we'll go into what prevents fat loss plateaus. Water, roughly half of your body weight in ounces each day. Okay, if you're taking creatine, if you're working out, you want even more water. If you are doing things like psyllium husk, which is a fiber supplement, if you're doing, I'm trying to think of some of the other things that usually lend to dehydration, you want to do more than half of your body weight in ounces, but half your body weight in ounces is where you start, okay? So it's simple enough, but highly effective for reducing water retention, keeping you from feeling dizzy, keeping your temperature under control. So many more reasons, but you already know water is important, okay? So I'm not going to drone on about that one. The last one that we need is to focus on what's called the 80-20 rule. It's not exactly needed for fat loss, but it does help make things much better, and it does keep you from deviating. So it's not needed for fat loss, it's needed for sustainable fat loss, okay? So the 80-20 rule, this means 80% of the calories that you take in are going to be nutrient-dense foods, healthy foods, whole foods, minimally processed. 20% of your calories are going to come from fun foods, maybe a little bit more processed. That might mean your ice cream, chocolate chip cookies, maybe a glass of wine, whatever that is. The things that people typically avoid are the things that they end up binging on or having cravings that they cave to. And this is why we want to keep 20% of your calories every single day available for you to use as fun foods. This is the stamp that says this is now sustainable. If you follow the first 7 things and not this one, you're going to get results, but you're going to feel deprived. You're going to feel like you're eating too rigidly, and you're going to end up caving and eating more calories of the very food you're avoiding. So, what I'm going to tell you is this is what actually leads to sustainable, long-term, permanent fat loss, okay? Not detoxes, not supplements, not fat burners, not food avoidance, not low carbs, not GLP-1s, okay? Try and be tough and avoid the foods that you typically think are bad for you, and you are going to feel deprived and then guilty. And then when you finally cave and have too much of the very food that you were avoiding. So use the 80-20 rule, okay? So those are the 8 things that actually cause sustainable fat loss. So the next question is, what prevents fat loss plateaus? Because that's the thing I hear all the time. Oh, Lance, I was doing good, and then like 6 weeks in, everything just stopped. What do I do? Well, here's where most people make a huge mistake. They think that a plateau means that they're stuck or that there's something wrong or something's broken. The reality is that is not true. It couldn't be further from the truth, which is great news. It simply means that you need to reduce your calories by 50 to 100 calories, or you increase your calorie output, also known as how many calories you burn in a day, okay? Most people hear this and they totally slash their calories, they go way too low, or they increase their exercise insanely. They lose some, but then they plateau even worse. Don't do that, okay? So what we want to do is we actually want to do which is number 9, is reduce calories only when needed, okay? If you're not losing that week and you checked your weight, your waist, your hips, photos, not just your weight, and you did not lose enough, which I'll talk about what that looks like, you want to reduce by 50 to 100 calories, or you can increase your steps or increase exercise, okay? So we're going to focus on just the calorie part. So we leave protein the same, and we reduce from your carbs, your fats, or both your carbs and fats together, okay? If you don't lose the next week, go ahead and do this again. Reduce by another 50, 75, or 100 calories, and this is going to allow you to get closer into that fat loss calorie deficit again, okay? So if you're wanting to leave your calories alone, where you go, oh man, I just decreased my calories this last week, still not losing enough, I need to increase my calorie deficit, but I don't want to reduce my food, no problem. We can simply increase your daily steps by 500 a day until you start seeing fat loss again. So that means you're going to do 500 extra steps a day for the 7 days. At the end of the week, you look at your losses. If you didn't see enough losses, you now have another option to increase your steps or to decrease your calories. It's really simple, okay? If you're still losing, though, if you're losing at least 0.5, I know you probably want to lose 1, 2, 3, 4 pounds a week, but the truth is, if you're losing more than 2 pounds a week, you're dehydrating yourself and you are likely losing lean body mass and slowing your metabolism. I don't care which coach told you otherwise. If it's the first month, you're losing water, and that's okay. But any more than 2 pounds a week, you will likely be losing what you don't want to lose. And that means if you're losing that, your metabolism will get slower and you will notice fat loss slowing down significantly. So you're looking for about 0.5 pounds per week minimum, or about a quarter of an inch from your waist every 2 weeks, which is we're looking at about 0.12 inches per week on average from your waist. If you see at least that, leave it alone. Don't increase your steps. Don't decrease your calories. Don't fix what is not broken, okay? So we're moving on to number 10, but we're moving on also to the third question, the third bucket. How do you know how long to do a fat loss phase, also known as calorie deficit? What you need to know is that you cannot just stay in a calorie deficit forever. Number one, what was a calorie deficit will not be a calorie deficit forever. Your body will slow down how many calories it burns to match how many calories you're eating. So if you're taking in 1,400 calories after 4, 5, 6 months, your body, by the end of that diet, the end of the fat loss phase, will only be able to burn 1,400 calories to match what you're taking in. We don't want to do that. We want to do things the right way. So how long do we know to go in the fat loss phase? Well, how we do this is number one, we reassess every 4 to 6 weeks with real data. We check your body fat, we check your lean body mass, okay? Pounds of lean body mass, measurements, photos, how you feel, how your clothes fit. That's the thing that we reassess every single 4 to 6 weeks. It doesn't matter. Oh, I didn't do good this last week, so I didn't measure. That's why you measure. You must keep measuring because it's going to give you feedback to say, hey, the last 4 to 6 weeks didn't really go as well. Do you see why? Oh, I didn't track. I didn't this. I didn't that. If you don't measure, then you're like, well, I feel like I did pretty good. And then the next time you go to actually check when you feel like you've done good, you don't realize when you didn't do as good, you might have gained 3, 4, 5 pounds. So then when you go to check because you did do good, you're like, but I only lost like a pound. No, chances are you probably lost 5 or 6 pounds, but you didn't check your last measurements because you didn't do as well. You wanted to give yourself the break from finding out bad information, which is good data, and you skipped it, which means that when you go to check again, now you don't have the real results and real data. Does that make sense, guys? Let me know in the comments below if this is making sense so far, okay? So every 4 to 6 weeks, we have to follow up to find out, are we actually losing, not weight, body fat? How do you know if you're losing body fat? You should be seeing loss of inches and not just weight. And if you are losing weight, we want to make sure that your strength is still going up or not at least declining. Otherwise, we're losing what we don't want to lose, okay? That was number 10. We reassess every 4 to 6 weeks with real data so we know what's going on. Number 11, we continue doing our body fat, our fat loss phase until one of three things begins to happen. Really, it's about four. Number one, you reach your goal body fat or your goal weight. Congratulations, you're there. You are now done with your fat loss phase, your calorie deficit phase. Number two, calories become too low or just feel unsustainable. This might be for some people at 1,400 calories. If you're a woman, it might be at like 1,900 calories. If you're a man, it does not matter what that is. You know, if you cannot sustain that, it's time to pause fat loss and switch back over into either maintenance or reverse dieting. I'll explain that in a minute. Number three, if you've been dieting roughly 12 to 6 weeks. Now, when I say dieting, this simply means dieting technically is just eating. But in this sense, we're using the world's way of calling it dieting, which means that you were eating at a reduced calorie intake, okay? You do not want to be in a fat loss phase for longer than 16 weeks unless you're taking what is known as diet breaks, which are 1 to 2, 3 week intervals of being at maintenance calories. Don't have time to go into it on this video, but that's what you would do, okay? So those are the main three reasons. Number four is if you've gone too long, going too long only slows down the metabolism and makes you more likely to feel deprived, which leads to caving eventually. So that's the reason we want to focus on these three. The fourth one basically is where life suddenly feels too challenging to stick with being in a fat loss phase. You need to go ahead and pause that so you don't mess up anything and just go into maintenance calories until you're out of that stressful season, unless you're in a stressful season where you feel like you're able to still focus on your fitness, okay? So those are the four reasons or the four ways to tell how long we should go. But at the end of the day, we're really looking at a maximum of 16 weeks unless you're using diet breaks, okay? So that is how long you should do a fat loss phase, all right? We reassess every 4 to 6 weeks with real data, and we continue going at maximum 16 weeks, but until we've reached our goal body weight or body fat, calories become too low or feel unsustainable, or we've hit that 12 to 16 week points, okay? All right, the very last part, guys, that I'm gonna go over is for question 4 or bucket 4, which is, okay, I now know how to lose fat sustainably. I know now how to basically, how long to go on my fat loss phase, and I know how to adjust and so on and so forth. But now, like, well, what keeps the weight from coming back, all right? We know now how to keep a plateau from happening, but what keeps the weight from coming back, right? Well, this is the part that almost nobody teaches. In fact, I rarely see anybody even talking about it because it doesn't seem to be very popular. Nobody wants to hear usually about reverse dieting and metabolism repair and restoration, but it is absolutely one of the most important things you can do in your fitness transformation, okay? This is why people regain weight. They don't know how to lose weight and keep it off. They only know how to lose it, all right? They don't know what comes after that phase, all right? So number 12, every single fat loss phase should be followed by a reverse diet, aka metabolism restoration phase. Every single one, okay? Your body has been adapting to lower calories, to losing body fat and body mass, which means that it is automatically going to reduce how many calories your body needs and how many it can burn, all right? So now we need to slowly build those calories back up, because this is what allows your body to handle going back to normal life, normal calories, without regaining the weight. How many of you guys have done a diet or done something and you can't wait to get back to normal? So you finally go back to normal and you start noticing that you're regaining weight almost as quickly as what you lost it. I've been there, and I know many of my clients have as well in the past. And the reason is because they did not reverse diet. Every one of my clients who reverse diets and does this in a slow, which I'll teach you in a second, this slow incremented way, they notice that they not only get their metabolism back, their hormones come back, they regain any lost lean body mass, and they're eating at a higher calorie rate without regaining body fat, without having the weight fluctuations that they once were having before. And this is the whole name of the game, because once you get back to your maintenance calories and you've done so without gaining body fat, now you can just maintain if you have reached your goals, all right? So number 13, oh, actually, yeah. So reverse diet is where we're slowly and incrementally increasing our calories in order to restore the metabolism, get us back to normal calories. Number 13 is where we're going to increase our calories slowly every week, every 2 weeks, whatever that might be, all right? So about 50 to 100 calories at a time should be increased, similar to fat loss phase, but in the opposite direction, okay? So instead of basically weighing in and measuring every week or every 2 weeks and decreasing calories if you don't see fat loss, this is going to be the opposite. You want to increase calories every week or two, so long as you lose at least 0.5, or excuse me, as long as you don't gain 0.5 pounds or more and you don't gain 0.25 inches or more. Notice the difference. We're not looking for losses. We're making sure we do not gain more than 0.5 pounds in a week, okay? But if you do gain more than those amounts, just simply hold steady. Hold your calories. Don't bump up until you see your weight come back down or pretty close to it, okay? Weight spikes are normal and do not mean that you're gaining body fat. Hear this part. If you gained 1 pound on the scale, it is likely not body fat. Here's how you can know. If you know what your maintenance calories are, let's say it's 1,800 calories. For you to gain 1 pound of body fat, you must have 3,500 calories above the 1,800 calories that you need to maintain your body weight. If you did not eat 3,500 calories over, not total, over what you were supposed to eat, you did not gain a pound of body fat. So chill on that. Reverse dieting can cause you to gain a little bit of body fat, a little bit of weight. But if you do it conservatively, if you do it the Joyfully Fit way that I teach, you will not gain much, if any, at all, okay? So every 1 to 2 weeks, we take the same measurements we did with fat loss. Waist, hips, and we're going to check your weight and body fat. If those things were comfortable based on what I just shared with you, bump your calories by 50 on the conservative side, 75 moderate, or aggressive is 100 calories. Sit tight until you see how your weight responded and how your body fat responded the next week, okay? Again, if you gain more than those amounts, just hold your calories until the weight comes back down, all right? I don't have time on this video to go into how there are weight fluctuations every day. What you need to know is that your body does not hold the same weight every day. So you might see your weight dip and then go up and dip and go up, and you want the average because your body weight does not stay the same, all right? Last one, guys. We've made it through this long video. How long do you reverse diet? Well, until you find your new maintenance. So what you want to do is continue increasing your calories until you reach your maintenance calories, also known as how many calories you can safely eat without gaining weight, all right? This means that you're going to feel satisfied and satiated with your intake of calories. Your calories now feel sustainable, meaning that you will maintain the losses without gaining or feeling like you don't have enough calories to maintain what your results were, okay? So calories feel sustainable is where you are able to stop your reverse diet. Or if you've gained anywhere from like 6 to 8, 10 pounds, it's time to stop your reverse diet and fix what you've gained. But if you're doing it the conservative way, you shouldn't actually get to 8 to 10 pounds over where you left off in your fat loss phase. Hopefully this is making sense, okay? When you've reached the end of your reverse diet, okay, now there is no length of time like the fat loss phase because it's not dangerous eating more than you were used to, unless you're eating in a surplus, which you'll know because you'll be gaining weight. So if you do this reverse diet, normally what I tell people is you need to reverse diet twice as long as how long your fat loss phase was. If you dieted 3 months, you realistically are going to be looking at 5 to 6 months of reverse dieting to fully restore your metabolism and to ensure that you do not go backwards. So do you see how most people don't do this? They just simply go back to normal eating. So their calories go way up. They stop doing what they were in their diet phase or fat loss phase, and they begin regaining it because they never learn what you actually do. Now, some of you might be saying, like, do I have to track my food forever? Heck no. This is only until you learn how to get the process done, how to do this and to build a habit, okay? So let's see, where do we lose or leave off here? Okay, so once you've reached your maintenance calories in your reverse diet, if you reach your fat loss goal or you need a break from weight loss also, that's another reason you can simply stay at your maintenance until you're ready to do your fat loss again. What I mean by this is that if you reach your fat loss goal and you're at the end of your reverse diet, you can simply go into maintenance calories and stay there. You can go back into fat loss phase if you have more fat loss to get. What I mean by this is if you're doing the fat loss phase the way that we teach and you're maximally only allowed to do 4 months, 16 weeks, you may not lose all of the body fat you have to lose in 16 weeks, and that's okay. You're going to go from fat loss phase to reverse diet. And then from reverse diet, if you need a break, you go to maintenance phase. If you don't need a break and you're like, no, I want to get back to fat loss, great. You've done it the healthy way. Now you go right back to where we started, a safe 15 to 20% calorie deficit. But because of the fact that you rebuilt muscle, got your metabolism back up, and all of this from doing a reverse diet, you're not going to have to bottom your calories out. You're likely going to have more calories on this fat loss phase than you did on the first one. That's the beauty of doing this the right way, guys. This is the Joyfully Fit way. All right. So if you've not reached your goal and you're ready, you can go ahead and go back into a fat loss phase once again, but that is up to you, okay? So this is everything. Those are the 14 things to focus on in order to have sustainable fat loss where you do not regain the weight, okay? Notice what wasn't on the list: fat burners, detoxes, juice cleanses, carb cycling, fat fasting, sweatsuits, waist trainers, cleanses, what else? GLP-1s, no expensive supplements, no supplements at all, no food avoidance. If it doesn't help create a calorie deficit, preserve muscle, improve adherence, improve metabolic output, or maintain results, it really is just not relevant yet. And sometimes not even at all, okay? So most people do spend years chasing random tactics, and sustainable fat loss is actually pretty simple though. So they're chasing all the wrong things. It is not easy per se, but it is incredibly simple. You lose fat, you preserve muscle, prevent plateaus intelligently, you reverse diet, you find your maintenance calories again, reassess. That's the roadmap. That's it. That's what healthy people do, not forever weight loss customers, okay? And that's why I don't spend my life. That's why I don't spend, or why my clients don't spend their lives losing the same 20 to 50 or 60 pounds over and over again, okay? I really hope this makes sense. I know it was a long one, but I feel like this is something I needed to do so that everybody has like, this is the exact roadmap. Like, this is it. This is basically like a workshop, or essentially like a, we would say that. So basically like a course or roadmap that shows you exactly what to do. If you're doing things outside of what I've talked about in the video here, you're likely wasting energy, money, or effort. And if you migrate yourself over to do what I'm talking about in this video, you're likely going to notice just major increase in results without feeling so miserable, okay? So if you're tired of trying to figure out all of this on your own and you'd like help implementing the steps that we cover today, go ahead and check out the links below. You can look at the 21-day Fat Loss Kickstart. or our Joyfully Fit 365 transformation program. Okay. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you felt like this video made sense, if it helped you, please be sure to hit the like button, hit the share. It really helps. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Thanks so much, guys. We will see you all on